Hello and welcome back to On the Break. We've got a lot of new guests going on. Well, we got a lot of, returning guests, but it's been different recently. We got Joe back here with Mike, and you know what, Joe, you're back. It's been a while. We haven't really had a lot of baseball to talk about, but we might have some new stuff going on. We're hearing some Lindor rumors, so that might happen during this recording. But Joe, how have you been? How are you doing? What's been going on, man?
Just working hard. We're chilling,
Yeah.
watching football. Let's get after it.
Always working hard. Always working hard. Mike, I've been with you the past 2 days, but how are you doing? I feel like I didn't ask you last episode.
I'm doing good, McCooch, man.
Yeah.
Let's get rolling, man.
Let's get it rolling. A lot of teams. Joe's been working hard, and we have all the playoff teams. They all worked really hard to get there, except Chicago, but that's a different story. And Washington, 7-9. But we are going to be previewing Wild Card Weekend, and then as divisional round goes along, we'll preview that on and on and on, whatever. We're going to just get straight into it as these Lindor rumors keep coming in. The Colts and the Bills, everyone knows I'm a Colts fan. I enjoy watching my Colts, but they play Buffalo. And Buffalo is a team that I think is going to win the AFC pretty handily. They match up really well with Kansas City. They match up well with just about every team in the playoffs. The Colts might be a tough matchup, right? They run the ball really well. If Phillip Rivers plays well, that offense is really dynamic, and that defense has a lot of great secondary players. And this guy, Darius Leonard, he's really good. I don't know if you ever heard of him. I think everyone's heard of Darius Leonard. He's really good, okay? He's one of the best linebackers in the league. Led the league in tackles as a rookie. He's pretty damn good at football. But I'm still, all that aside, Josh Allen is an absolute stud. He's really developed this season, and I can't wait to see where he goes, 4 years from now maybe. Stephon Diggs is a true top 6 receiver, top 5 receiver. That might be underselling him based on his performance this year. And the run game, it's been inconsistent, but it gets the job done, especially when you have a solid defense like Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to come away with this game by probably 2 scores. What do you guys have on this game?
The spread's at 6.5. I would hammer the Buffalo Bills for at least money line, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a blowout game, but I have the Bills going to the Super Bowl. So I have to rock with them. Josh Allen's just so good. They're so well coached. Just everything they do with the football. They don't have a good run game. Realistically, they don't have a good run game, which could be their downfall. But altogether, Josh Allen's going to – this team kind of reminds me of the Carolina Panthers from whenever they went to the Super Bowl a couple years ago. Just with a better throwing quarterback. So we'll see. I think I'm going Buffalo.
Well, I'm going Buffalo here as well. I'm pretty sure at this point everybody on the break just thinks that Buffalo is just going to go to the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure it's just a one-way ticket at this point. They match really well with the Chiefs. Honestly, they have a chance to knock off the Chiefs. And against this Colts, I know McCooch, you love those Colts, but Phillip Rivers, it's time for him to retire early because he's going to be knocked out in the wild card. Because the only Achilles heel I think of the Buffalo is the run defense can be kind of inconsistent sometimes. But other than that, they're just such a well-balanced team. What Perch said, well-coached team. Love Sean McDermott, what he's doing with that team. And I don't know, just Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, they're on a hot streak right now. I don't see anybody stopping them right now. So honestly, I think Buffalo comes away, and I definitely think they cover the spread.
Yeah, the thing about Buffalo is, let's say the Colts have the potential to, really get after them in the run game and put up 30 points. Buffalo's going to score 42 right back at you. That's just how Buffalo has been this season, and I really love the way that they play. Everyone does it on the break. We all think the Bills are going to the Super Bowl for the most part, really. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people around the NFL are very confident in Buffalo this season.
Buffalo's a fantastic team.
It's warranted. They've just been absolute balling out this season. Josh Allen's a stud. We know this. But
also it's kind of good too because they were so patient with Josh Allen. Look at him right now. He's been absolutely balling, bro. I've always been high on the Bills since McDermott was hired. Happy to see where they are.
This is what happens when you have a good quarterback like Josh Allen who needs to develop, and you have great coaching around him. It's all about coaching in this league. But 2 teams that are coached very well, that's the next game on that Saturday, are the Rams and the Seahawks. The Rams, their story with Jared Goff having surgery on his thumb. Everybody loves John Wolford around here, but he's probably not going to play. Who knows what gives them the best chance to win against Seattle. If they lose this game, Rams fans might be calling for Jared Goff's head, even though he just, had to get surgery on his thumb. And people will say, John Wolford's our starter for the future, but I don't think that's really going to be the choice. But against Seattle, a team that I picked to win the NFC, now I'm backing up on that claim a bit. That was in the preseason. That was even before Jamal Adams. But then the defensive inconsistencies showed up, and I was not enjoying the way that they were playing. They're very inconsistent, this team, but the thing about inconsistent teams is that they always have these really high highs. And if Seattle can hit that really high, especially on the defensive side of the ball, we all know the offense is fine with Russell Wilson. You can put anybody around Russell Wilson, he will perform. But the defense, it's stepped up with Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. But we'll see if, a playoff team like the Rams can, now that they have a whole week to prepare for you, especially in postseason mode. We'll see if, at 10-6, they did lose to the Jets. They should be 11-5, but I still think that Seattle is going to come out with a win. I think this is going to be the best game on – no, this won't be the best game on Saturday, actually. The next one, I'll get into that. But I'm going to pick Seattle. I think that they'll probably make the NFC Championship and play Green Bay. But anything else you guys have on this? Is there any hot takes here?
Seattle's the 3.5-point favorites in this game, but I'm going Rams. Actually, these are probably the two best defensive teams in the whole playoffs. Both teams played, honestly, just great all over the defensive end, run defense, pass defense, getting to the quarterback. They're both doing a lot of good things right now. I think one thing that Seattle does lack is the consistency on offense and the creativeness on offense to keep up with the Rams in a game like this. And I think guys like Cam Akers, Malcolm Brown, even though Darrell Henderson's out, you have two pretty good running backs still available. Look at what they did with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson a couple of years ago. I don't think the Rams are going to go far, but against a team like Seattle, who's very inconsistent on both ends of the football, but their best of the best is arguably the best on both sides in the whole entire league. So I think you got to give it. I'm going with the Rams. Jared Goff or John Wolford, I'm going with the Rams.
All right, Mike, what do you got?
Well, Persh, I'm going to bring you right back down to earth. I'm going to go with Seattle because in playoff time, Russell Wilson's absolute beast in the playoffs. That's number one. Number two, though, the Rams, you could say that the Seahawks are a little bit inconsistent. The only thing I'm really worried about them is their defense. I'm wondering if defense could really show up in prime time in times like this during the playoffs. That's the only concern I really have about Seattle because if they have no way to stop Cam Akers and and Woods and a Coop, there's no way that's going to happen. That's number two. But number three, though, the Rams have been kind of shaken offense sometimes too, especially with Jared Goff under center. So we got to see how they perform. We got to see how Jared Goff performs too. So, John Wolford or not, John Wolford did okay in the start, but if he gets thrust in the playoff spot like this, I don't know if he's going to perform. I don't know if the guy's going to show up. I think he's going to have to rely on his LinkedIn for his new job after this season if they lose. So, honestly, I got to roll with Seattle.
I think the biggest piece of this game, though, is the return of Andrew Whitworth on the left side of the line. I think this is going to be a super close game, one-score game. But
most definitely, this is going to be a very close game.
I do like where the Rams are looking for this game.
The thing about the Rams is if you have a guy by the name of Aaron Donald on your football team, you have a chance to be anybody in the league in a win and you're out game, right? But you also have the chance. Let's say Aaron Donald gets triple teamed and he's not doing pretty well and the rest of the defensive line doesn't perform, then you have the Jets game. So it could go either way. But if the Seahawks are unable to stop Aaron Donald and Aaron Donald can get into the quarterback and in the run game, Seattle can be held to under 20 points. That's how good that guy is. So it's very reasonable that the Rams could win.
Yeah, also, too, you got to look at the Jalen Ramsey and DK Metcalf matchup right there.
Oh, that's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of talk.
Metcalf was kind of held up a little bit. So let's see if Metcalf can get revenge on Ramsey. We'll have to see. That's a big match.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of smack talk from Jalen Ramsey coming DK's way.
Yeah, those two X factors, you're totally right, McCooch. It's going to be definitely an X factor. Definitely be Aaron Donald's impact in the trenches, and also it's going to be Ramsey on the outside. We'll have to see.
Yeah, and another team with a phenomenal defensive line is the Washington football team. They play Tampa Bay on the Saturday night game, and Tom Brady his history against the NFC East in playoff or Super Bowl games, as he was in the AFC, not very good. Okay, he beat the Eagles once when Donovan McNabb said, "I'm going to throw up on the field." He says he didn't, but I think he did. Watch the tape. Mike knows about that one. The two Giants Super Bowls, Tom Brady went. Joe, I forgot you're a Patriots fan. I'm sorry about this one. The Giants lost 2 Super Bowls to the Patriots lost 2 Super Bowls to the Giants. One when they were undefeated. And then the Eagles, Mike knows about that Super Bowl. That is the only Super Bowl Mike will see in his lifetime from Philly, but we'll see about that one. Tom Brady, Patriots legend with Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has been very inconsistent, but they have more weapons than the United States Army. Okay, they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. They've got Gronk. They've got good old Cameron Brate even. The offensive line it gets the job done. Okay, Antonio Brown. And that defense has been pretty solid. Ronald Jones Jr. is a great running back, and Leonard Fournette can always put on a good show. Now, here's the thing. You have a Washington football team, okay, with Alex Smith, who will be starting, who's been shaky, I will say. Antonio Gibson's been a stud rookie running back. Their receivers, you got Scary Terry. There's one reason that I'm going to sit here, and I'm going to take a risk, and I'm going to pick Washington in this game. Home field is a thing. That defensive line is arguably, one of the best arguably the best in football. You have, the Rams, maybe with Aaron Donald, that basically surpasses that. But Chase Young is looking like, he's going to be the best defensive lineman in the NFL at one point in his career. And then you have Montez Sweat. You have a whole first-round defensive line. I'm going to think that gets a lot of sacks in this game, and I'm going to pick Washington to win this game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. They're going to hold Tampa Bay, but Washington's going to find a way with Antonio Gibson, and I think they're going to win this game. What do you think?
I'm actually one of the only people in the world that predicted the Washington football team to win the division this year.
Yeah.
Other than Washington fans. But, Bucks are 8.5-point favorites. If, I'm all for the spread for Washington football team, but I do think the Bucks come out with this game. I think it's going to be a way closer game than 8.5 points. It's absolutely ridiculous. Brady, when he has his most trouble, is absolutely pressured. And, you have 4 first-round talents on that defensive line. And I don't think Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen, these guys get enough credit for, playing with Montez Sweat and Chase Young. But they do they do more on the inside as, those other guys get to the quarterback a little bit more. But the pressure from the football team is going to hurt the Bucks big time. But at the end of the day, I actually have the Bucks going to the Super Bowl in the NFC. So, I think Brady's clicking right now. The whole team's clicking right now. This is not the same team that lost to the Saints twice. This is not the same team that doesn't, show up in games in the beginning of the year. This is a whole different team. I'm all for the Bucks. Let playoff Brady eat up. And he's on a vengeance right now to try and prove he's better than Belichick. So I'm going Bucks in this game, but it will be a way closer game than 8.5.
When I think about this game, I think about the trenches. And I've said before at the beginning of the season, this front seven is going to be something special for the football team. And this front seven is definitely, you could even say they're the best in the league. Like you said, Montez Sweat, Chase Young, it's turned out to be an absolute star as an edge rusher. You got Jonathan Allen, and you got Ryan Kerrigan still playing at a high level. This Washington football team, their defense has been absolute stout this season. You look at a lot of their games, they've been able to keep these high-scoring offenses also at just on not performing at a high level as they're used to in a way. Like when you look at some of these scores, and when you look at this Bucks offense. Weirdly, I think their defense is a perfect match for this offense. Like, of course, you got a lot of targets. You got a lot of weapons on the outside. Like Mukuch said, they got more than the entire United States Army. Like, Jesus Christ, Mike Evans already set, the only receiver to have 7 1,000-yard seasons. You got Godwin. You got Antonio Brown. You got Gronk, and then you could just name it. You got everybody. But also, too, I think, like, in pressure, Persh is completely right about this. He kind of falters under pressure in a way, especially when he's going against teams like this. And especially since it's at home, I'm honestly picking the upset. I think football team actually wins kind of decisively in this game. I think Alex Smith really balls out.
Yeah, the key to this game for Washington is going to be Alex Smith. If he plays terribly, they're going to get destroyed. But if he has a solid game, I think that the Washington football team has a much better chance to win than a lot of people might
As
think.
long as Alex Smith does what he's done most of his career, which is game manage very well, I'm pretty sure he's going to be just fine.
And we'll see what happens there. Now, Saturday, that's the end of those games. Let's move on to Sunday, which could get really interesting. We're going to start off with the Ravens and the Titans, a game me and Mike briefly touched on in our last episode together without Nico, not the 2 days ago that we posted that one. The Ravens and the Titans, we said that this is a battle of teams that we think are pretty overrated. I predicted the Titans weren't going to make the playoffs, and they barely did. I mean, a Miami win and a loss would have probably kept them out. Would have kept them out basically. But it is what it is. I'm wrong sometimes. It's okay. They won the division. They're the 4 seed. They are going to play the Baltimore Ravens with Lamar Jackson. This is a very tight matchup. I like both of these teams, but I don't love them. Right. And I think it's just a really good matchup. I don't have either of these teams going very far, but I do think that they have a shot, especially, if Derrick Henry balls out, he balls out. If Lamar balls out, he balls out. And they can go far. But I don't think they'll beat Buffalo. I don't think they'll beat Kansas City. So this is just going to be a fun game to be its own thing. I'm going to go with the Titans. I think Derrick Henry shows a little bit of that magic we saw in the last postseason. And he may have 200 rushing yards, but this Baltimore defense does what they do. It's going to be a tight game, but I'm going to pick Tennessee in a very close one. Very close one. What do you guys got?
The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites, but I'm going Tennessee. The emergence of A.J. Brown even more than last year. The emergence of a full-on healthy Corey Davis. Add in, Derrick Henry just being a dude. And guess what? Ryan Tannehill looks even better than he did last year. The defense is not pretty from Tennessee. But at the end of the day, when you get into a lead with Tennessee, you can take Tennessee out of the game. So if the Ravens start this game early and take a lead, they could be in a really good spot to win. But, if Tennessee gets the lead early, they're going to hammer Derrick Henry, use him probably 40 to 50 rushes, and make you need to get the ball out quicker and make you need to have quicker drives because they're going to have the ball for 10 minutes, 9 minutes,
Yeah.
You're going to have 15-play drives, 16-play drives. So if Tennessee coaches effectively and, Arthur Smith and Mike Vrabel keep doing what they're doing, I could see them pulling this game out, even making a possible little run. But I do think this is arguably the closest game of the whole entire weekend. We have really good football games this weekend, but these are the two teams that match up the best. And, I do like the Ravens. I think, the emergence of J.K. Dobbins is really good. If Lamar keeps throwing the football well, this could be a very, very good game. But I'm going Titans just based off the fact that they can hold the ball way longer.
Yeah, but what we both know about these teams is that whoever moves on is going to get immediately eliminated in the divisional round. Just absolutely immediately, they're going to get demolished probably by Buffalo or Kansas City. But I have to agree with you guys. I got to go Tennessee here. Lamar Jackson in the playoffs, that choke artist self in the playoffs. I just don't think that he's going to perform very well, especially under pressure like that. As we all know, Lamar can win those big games, and he never has. Maybe you never will. We have to see. But just like when you look at this Tennessee offense, they just got more weapons. You got AJB, like Perch brought up. He's been absolute star this season. Corey Davis has been very solid on the outside too. And also, you got Derrick Henry. You got King Henry. That's all you got to do. All Ryan Tannehill has to do in this game is make his reads and hand the ball off. That's literally all he has to do. He doesn't need to do anything special. He's not a special quarterback. He never will be. He's just a game manager. He has a great system around him, and that's all he's got to do to win this game. Just not turn the ball over. Don't do anything stupid. And the Tennessee Titans on defense, they just got to hold Lamar Jackson in his place. That's basically all they got to do. This will definitely be a close game, but I got to roll with the Titans in this one.
Yeah, I think all of us can agree that this is going to be a great football game between these two teams. But again, like Mike said, they're both going to get eliminated by Kansas City or Buffalo. But again, fun game. I'm still going to go with Tennessee. This is a rematch of that fun game where Baltimore choked it away. And that was the beginning of Tennessee's big run that they made. It was fun. But Tennessee, I think King Henry is just such a god. I don't know how you tackle him unless if you have three people.
He's literally like a freight train coming at you, like you just can't stop. There's no way of stopping him, you know?
Not a lot of money you can pay me to tackle that guy, but or even take a stiff arm. But anyway, the next matchup, I'm not very excited to watch this game, I'll be honest. Chicago and the Saints. 8-8 Chicago got into the wild card game with good old Mitch Trubisky. This should have been Arizona, okay? But it is what it is. They didn't win the game, and they didn't make it past the Rams. Kyler Murray got hurt. They weren't able to get the win. But Chicago is in. They're playing the Saints. There's nothing we can do about it now. We have to sit here and accept our fate, okay? But I'm going to go with the Saints by 20. I don't really have much to say about Chicago. They're very inconsistent. Mitchell Trubisky is not a playoff quarterback to me. You had the Cody Parkey game last time he was in here, and he could have beat Philly that year, but it is what it is. Okay. But yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints. Alvin Kamara is a god. Drew Brees is game managing at an all-time level. Okay, he does his job. He does his job, and if he continues to do his job, the Saints are gonna have a very good chance to win this game. You know what? I'll make it fun. I'm gonna go with the Taysom Hill receiving touchdown in this game. How about that? That's what's gonna happen to me. Yeah, it's gonna happen. What do you guys think about this game? Do you guys think it's interesting? I don't know.
I mean,
yeah, I'll start with the spread first. The spread's 9.5 for this game. Saints are the favorites, obviously. Honestly, I do think the Saints win this game. I would love to get ballsy and say the Bears have a. I honestly do think they have a shot. Like, I think people are just pushing them to the side like it's nothing. They have a really good defense. They run the ball exceptionally well now. Allen Robinson, Darnell Mooney both look good, and Mitch Trubisky's limiting turnovers. So they played the Packers pretty well last weekend. One mistake at the end of the game gave the Packers the rest of the game. So the Packers are a 10 times better team than the Saints as well. Packers are arguably the best team in football right now. So I don't want to sit here and bang the drum and say the Bears are going to win this game. But I don't agree with such a large spread, and I don't agree. I mean, obviously the Saints are a much better team, but I do think the Bears are very underrated. Mitch Trubisky's clicking. The fact that they even went to Nick Foles in the middle of the year this year after going, 3-0, 4-0, that's why they fell so far in the standing. If they did not switch over to Nick Foles, I could see them, possibly being even higher than the Bucs or the Rams. So, honestly, I'm still going Saints, but got to give the Bears some credit.
Well, I'll say one thing. Like Recruit said, he wasn't really excited about this game, but I guess the only exciting appeal about this game that it's getting broadcasted on Nickelodeon. That's what I heard. So I heard that SpongeBob might make an appearance. So I guess that's exciting. If I guess that's cool. Maybe Patrick will show up. Maybe Squid. I don't know, but
somebody.
But one thing too, though, is that if the Bears put in Nick Foles during the playoffs, that might be a different story because the Nick Foles just turns into a whole nother level in the playoffs and he just sucks in the regular season. But when you just compare these two teams, the Saints offense is just like completely outmatches this defense, even though as good as the Bears defense has been. Like Alvin Kamara, let's not forget this man that came off a 6-touchdown night against the Vikings, like against their own division rival. Like that is absolutely insane. And Drew Brees is just game managing. He just doesn't need to turn that ball over. But this Bears offense is starting to pick up a little bit. They are running the ball effectively. David Montgomery, Trubisky is not the turnover machine that we saw that he was at the beginning of the season, or like as we've seen him in previous years. But I just don't see the Bears pulling out this win. I just think they kind of the Saints kind of outmatched them a little bit. I'm thinking not a 20-point. I would say at most 14, but I'm kind of saying maybe a 10-point difference between the scores. That's okay. my prediction. I think 10 is fair.
Yeah, 20 was I'm having fun with that one. It's probably going to be more like 10 or 12 or something like that. But I still have the Saints winning this game pretty handily. They're one of the better teams in the NFC, and they're at home if that means anything this year. But again, it's always nice to play in your field.
Alvin Kamara followed up 6 touchdowns with 6 mask taking down. So, hey, man, it's
yeah, this is true.
This is true. He had a good night after that night. If he even played there's still I don't know if he's activated yet, but
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean the game is in what 3 days. He
Yeah.
hasn't practiced
I
yet.
mean, one thing I'll say though is if Alvin Kamara does not play this game, they have to play with Latavius Murray. We haven't seen much from him to see if he can compensate as much as Kamara's production.
Saw him for a bit. He played pretty well. I think he'll still be able to fill that role. You know, you basically just
Of course,
replace.
I mean, Latavius Murray's decent, but he's not like a receiving back. He doesn't have that versatility that Kamara is deadly with. So
Yeah.
if Kamara doesn't show up for the game, that could maybe change it to maybe like a 7-point game, but maybe like a one possession game. But I still can't see the Bears pulling out this win. Only if Nick Foles goes in. If Nick Foles goes in, I might change my prediction. But
Okay.
well,
Okay. I think he'll be in by halftime. How about that? Well, we'll have some fun with it. Hopefully, Nick Foles makes an appearance at least on the sideline. They'll show him, hey, Nick Foles is in the playoffs before he won a Super Bowl. Why aren't you starting him? I don't know. But we have one more game to get to, and it's my least favorite game on this list. Not because it's going to be a bad game, but because the Browns are being set up for failure by good old COVID. Okay. And I mean, even if Stefanski was coaching, if everything was right for Cleveland, I would still pick Pittsburgh in this game. The Browns finally back in the playoffs, 11-5. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought, 5 years ago, hey, the Browns are going to be in the playoffs soon, huh? No one would have thought that. But here they are. Whether they get blown out by 50, Browns fans, you still got something to be happy about. You made the postseason, but hopefully you can do it again. And again and again and again. We'll see if you can. Okay. Pittsburgh looks good again. They've been playing well. Juju's has not been riding his Corvette anymore. He's been actually, not dancing on logos. Okay. And they've been playing well because of it. Right. Cleveland, no Stefanski. They're down Batonio, I believe. They're down a bit because of COVID. They're down staff. They're down everything. If Nick Chubb explodes and has a phenomenal game, Cleveland has all the chance to win. But that's if they actually give him the ball, right? Baker Mayfield actually has his receivers this time. We'll see if he can perform in his first postseason game. I know Mike's going to say he's going to throw for 5 interceptions. He's going to have the worst game of his career.
I was going to say that, but we'll get to my my hot take. Sure.
I don't think any rookie quarterback is supposed to play well in the playoffs unless not really. I mean, this is your first time in the playoffs. Whether you get blown out, it's playoff experience, and that shows to prove that you can do it again. But I'm going to pick Pittsburgh by a pretty handily game. Pittsburgh is going to advance, and it's going to be a fun divisional round with whoever they end up playing. And I got that. I'm going to pick Pittsburgh. I think that they would play Buffalo, so that'd be a lot of fun. What do you guys got?
If Browns were healthy, I honestly would go Browns, but I see them more as a team next year that finally takes the next step next year. Listen, you guys know my affection for Deontay Johnson.
Yes.
That's my guy, baby AB. He's gonna go off this weekend, as he does every weekend when he catches the ball. So, I'm going Steelers. It pains me to say because I do want to see the Browns move on, but they're just so beat up right now with COVID, injuries, just everything going on. And guess what? I don't like the Steelers. I don't think they're that good of a football team. I think they're a paper tiger, but I do see my boy Deontay Johnson going off and carrying the Steelers to the promised land in this one. So let's go, baby AB.
Love some Deontay.
Tulsa native.
Maybe during the offseason, Deontay Johnson can hit that jugs machine.
Yeah. You know what? I will try to get Deontay Johnson on the show after the Steelers are out of the playoffs. It's definitely not going to happen, but I'll make the effort just for you.
Hey, man, we got Todd Frazier. We can get Deontay Johnson.
And we can get Baker Mayfield. That'd be nice.
Very unlikely, but it would be fun.
Speaking of Browns, you might be surprised though, but if the Steelers were playing at the level when they lost those 3 games in a row, I would have picked. If that was the team that was playing the Browns right now, the team for like almost a month ago that was playing the Browns right now, I would pick. Even without Stefanski, I would pick the Browns to beat the Steelers. But they're missing Stefanski. They're missing a staple on that offensive line, which is Joel Bettino. Great offensive line, great guard. Love to see what he's done in his career. But I mean, if they run the ball effectively, I'm confident that they could stay in the game. I think this is not going to be a blowout. This could maybe be like a little bit close, not extremely close though. The Steelers team, I mean, as long as Juju doesn't dance on the Browns logo, the Steelers win. So like Big Ben just avoids turnovers. He just handles the ball well. He's got everybody in the world to throw to. This Browns defense is absolutely full of scrubs. Like nobody could play on that defense. That defense is trash, awful. And the only concern I have for the Browns in coming back is when you put the ball in Baker Mayfield's hands to come back. And I think this is where Baker Mayfield will choke, and he will fall right back down to earth if he has to do a comeback drive and win, which I'm not very confident in him that he can do. So, I don't know. I'm picking the Steelers to win this one. I think the Browns are a next year project to maybe advance to maybe the divisional round. We have to see.
I'm all in on the Browns for next year.
Yeah, you got to be, especially if they draft a lot of defense in this draft.
Oh no, and their defense is very good. Give me the guy who loves the Browns more than the team themselves next year back, Odell Beckham, and then pair him with Jarvis again, and let Baker live, man. And honestly, one thing I hope they do next year: use Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb on the field at the same time, please.
That is true. Yeah, that is very true. I mean, Kareem Hunt is a great receiving back. He definitely has a threat for a run after catch. I definitely agree with that.
Just
on two back sets, please.
Put two back sets in. Put them in the slot sometimes. Move them out wide. You have the opportunity to do both side wide receivers, both side running back screens, where you can have the defense think it's going to Chubb and then go to Hunt. You have these play action ability passes where you can roll out, do a fake handoff to Nick Chubb, and have Kareem Hunt going on a wheel. There's end arounds if Kareem Hunt lines up out wide. And, you have also your jet sweep fakes with Kareem Hunt, maybe even then teams buy over the side for Kareem Hunt's going, and you open up another big hole for Nick Chubb. If you put them on the field at the same time, defenses will cry before games. And that's not even talking about Jarvis Landry, that amazing O-line that they're building, the great run block scheme that they have, and bringing Odell Beckham back healthy next year. Baker will literally only have to manage the game, and they'll win games. And Baker is a very good player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that Kareem Hunt could be a huge threat in the screen game. I've seen him in the screen game. That guy is absolute beast in that. So I'm looking forward to see what Stefanski could scheme up with Hunt in the backfield. Maybe even Chubb in a two running back set too, like first brought up. I think that's a great idea.
I think Nick Chubb's a top 5 runner in the sport, but just
you even say top 3 right now. Like he's been an absolute beast this season.
Yeah, but guess what? You give both of them the ball, it's gonna make magic.
Yeah, it will be a lot of fun. All they have to do is get healthy in the secondary and get rid of Andrews and Dejo, and they'll be just fine. Anyway, anything else that you guys want to add before we wrap up this good old preview?
I just want to make the announcement of what we were talking about before. I know this isn't a baseball one, but Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco are going to the Mets for Med Rosario, Andres Jimenez, and 2 prospects.
That is a great move for the Mets, and I'm sure we're going to get into it eventually. Watch out for that. We'll see what we get going.
Maybe next week.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see what we whip up. Maybe we'll have someone else on the show for once. Let's see if we can get a surprise guest that we never got on. You all know what I mean. Anyway, this is On the Break. Thank you all for coming on, Joe and Mike. I'm John as usual. And this is On the Break. Thank you all for watching. We will see you later, and let's have fun watching these football games for sure. All right? Have a good one.